All right, the Seattle Seahawks just signed a huge defensive tackle. We're going to talk all about it if you're new to the channel. We're Detroit Lions fans, but we have this channel dedicated to teams that just get overlooked by the national media. The Seattle Seahawks, we've been on for 2 years just because no one's paying attention to them. And then especially that rough stretch you went through, you can look back. We went and said, I think the Seahawks are all right. They're going to be okay. Little did we know you'd trade for Ernest Jones, flip around your defense, and your defense is actually carrying you crazy, right? So we're going to look at this defensive tackle. Then we're going to go ahead and show you some advanced stats that really paint a picture of the Seattle Seahawks, why this improvement has happened, and why there's so much room to get better, which is crazy as you're leading the division, going full speed into the playoffs. Let me know in the comments, by the way. We're here in Michigan. We're Michigan fans, so we're pumped about this past weekend. Who's your college football team? Let me know in the comments out there. Gosh, if I'm a Seattle Seahawks fan, is it Washington State, Oregon? There's a lot going on out there in the West Coast. I have no idea who your college team would be. Let me know in the comments. All right. Here's the guy I'm talking about really quick. And you're familiar with this guy. It's Quinton Bohanna. He's only 25 years old. He's a 6th-round pick out of Kentucky. He's gone back and forth on a few teams, but the Seahawks have been one of those teams. The thing is about this guy is he was with the Lions for a minute, and it's kind of hard to read this, but he was with the Lions, and he started over a defensive tackle that we drafted high. So Quinton Bohanna, big, massive defensive tackle that you pick up. Is it the end of? I mean, is this the craziest thing you've ever done in the history of time? No, but it's hard to find these big defensive tackles, and I get it. He's not the greatest, and something's up with him, but he played really well when he was with the Lions. That's his last meaningful snaps, and then he got poached off of our practice squad, and I haven't seen him since. And now he's with you, the Seattle Seahawks. So keep an eye on Quinton Bohanna. He's starting on the practice squad, but could get called up. Okay. Really good article here on basically let me go to the top of this article just real quick. It's a big one. It's long, but it's basically Seahawks and Jets do a bunch of drugs and see what happens. So it was a crazy game. You're making mistake after mistake after mistake, but the Jets are like, well, hold on, let us do this, and then you can get back into it, and then just crazy. But down here, this is huge, and this is why you've turned things around, because offensively it hasn't been good. But over the last 4 weeks, the Seattle defense has faced 4 really good running backs, and they've allowed 216 yards on 60 carries, less than 4 yards per carry, and no touchdowns. You're stopping the run. What was happening when you weren't winning? You couldn't stop the run. Your run defense has completely changed scheme, personnel. It's awesome to see. Why is this such a big deal? We're going to look at how bad your offense has been. But when you can stop the run, you're in every single game. The Detroit Lions for 2 years have stopped the run. They've been top 5 in every rushing defensive category. And the offense gets all the attention. Well, yeah, but I mean, you can beat teams 52-6 when the team just punts. They can't do anything. You can dominate teams when you can come back. You can stay in games, when they can't run the ball. Because if we look at it here, the Seattle Seahawks, a lot of advanced metrics here. And basically, this article is talking about how the offense has basically just gotten worse and worse and worse to the point it's near the bottom under Ryan Grubb. And so if you take out the Falcons game, the Seattle Seahawks are 28th in EPA per play. That stands for expected points achieved or something like that. Basically, what kind of plays are you running where it's like, ooh, that is a productive, good play that could have scored. So 19th in drop back, 32nd in rushing. Brutal, right? You got to be able to run the ball and stop the run. You're stopping the run, keeping you in games and keeping you winning here, but you're not running the ball. This offense is too talented to have a mediocre pass game and a rock bottom rushing attack. 100%. So you're saying it's saying that your rushing attempts just pose no threat to scoring, to good plays, big plays. So brutal. Now look at this real quick. Just a couple names for you that you haven't heard in a while. Daryl Bevel. I think he came to the Lions like after this. This is some of the worst things since you've seen since 2011. That following year, you get Russell Wilson, which is an upgrade from Tavarius Jackson and Charlie Whitehurst. There's two names you didn't expect to hear today. So what this means is your defense is carrying you. That's the good news. The bad news is offensively, it's just not, it's not there. It's not efficient is the word. I think every offensive mind would take efficiency, where you're just kind of 3 yards, 6 yards, 3 yards, 5 yards. It's yes, you want the explosive plays, but can you just kind of, when we say efficient, we're talking about staying ahead of the chains, right? A lot of just corny buzzword stuff that you hear all the time, but it's so true that, man, if you're second in 4, changes everything, because now you're like, you know what? We basically have 3 plays to get 4 yards, depending on where you're in the field. But for the most part, you know what? We're going for it. So that just changes everything. It's like, let's just run it. Or there's so much things you can do. But when you're behind the chains, it's so tough. And so there's so much room for growth here. And you have to be confident, because just like your defense did it, your offense could do it. Meaning your defense was just getting gashed, couldn't stop anybody. Couldn't stop the run. But you trade for a couple players, you move some guys around, you change the scheme, and now no one can run on you. So it's like, all right. And I know Mike McDaniel's a defensive guy, but it's like, what if we can get into the offense, tap into that somehow and change up the offense? It's not like you're playing out of your minds, and it's like, it's a tough division, and everyone's just beating each other up. It's like, no. Arizona's just on the fringe, right? These guys are like, they're not that good. No one's scared of them after these last couple weeks, where it's like, they're out. You got San Fran's nothing that they've ever, it's like, all right, I have to worry about them. And then the Rams, it just feels hard. Everything's like, they feel old, and it's like Stafford's just like beat up. It's like, why are you so beat up? Stafford he's so annoying. Used to love him. Even loved him when he first got traded. I was rooting for him. But now it's like you do that to yourself. Like, oh, man, I was like, he's so tough into the game. Or it's like, or he's just reckless, like with it, not reckless, but I don't know, is he holding onto the ball too long? Like, no one's like, oh, Goff's a gamer. Goff's just like, I just get rid of the ball. Like, I'm not going to take hits. All right. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments. We'll see all of you on the next one.